welcome to the Feature of the Week presented by Gamers R Us. This is Alex, and this week we're talking about... Wait a second.
Blatant international despotism of the United States or the cronyism of its allies.
This week we're talking about the good old classic, Splinter Cell. As I'm sure you know by now, Splinter Cell is a tactical, third-person stealth action game based around the exploits of Sam Fisher, voiced by Michael Ironside. And the original Splinter Cell is probably the best of them all. I think the first thing I noticed when playing this title is just how good it looks for one released in 2002, especially using the Unreal 2 engine. To this very day, the shadows and the lighting systems in this game are not just functional, but they still look quite pretty as well. Going back to it, I almost forgot how interactive the levels were, how you're able to almost knock out every light. You're able to throw objects in different places. You're able to use a whole bunch of areas of the environment to attract and take out potential enemies, whether it's killing them or just knocking them out. The original Splinter Cell exists almost in a stark contrast to modern stealth games, particularly modern stealth games that have the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell name on them. While the old Splinter Cell games emphasized exploration and using your environment to the fullest, modern stealth games, particularly Splinter Cell games, seem to focus a lot more on the cinematic aspect, making the person feel like they're an agent rather than actually making them do things that would actually give the player a real sense of accomplishment rather than having the momentary feeling of being a complete badass. But that just lends itself to the methodology of the gameplay, something that's more akin to a classic gameplay model rather than overly cinematic sequences that make you look cool. Yeah, the game is hard, yeah, there are some bugs, but when you actually beat a mission, you feel like you've really accomplished something. You know, when you're running around, when you having maybe 2 bullets, having to finish half a mission with almost no ammunition, having to almost completely rely on the shadows, whether they be moving or not. In modern stealth games, this feeling isn't emulated at all. And that's what kind of gives you a feeling of satisfaction, actually being able to get through this whole game, even on normal, because normal is quite hard. As I mentioned, there were some bugs, particularly I believe in the second mission, where you have to overhear a general's conversation on an elevator. If you do not hide all the bodies properly, there's a bug which sets off the alarms after you get past a certain point. That's happened in other levels as well, and it's just a minor bug, so something that people who want to pick this up should be mindful of. The gunplay is also not particularly responsive at times. It's very difficult to get headshots. For some reason, you end up missing shots from time to time that look like they should be straight on, spot on hits. And I've gone through sometimes 10 shots just to take out one light with a pistol, then of course having to reload the map because losing 10 shots on that is a complete waste. And that is something you're going to have to be monitoring throughout the entire game, throughout every mission, is basically your resources, your ammunition, your gear, your gadgets. You have to use them at opportune times. You can't just waste them, because then you'll just end up having an absolutely ridiculously tough time, especially if you have to run away from guys who have AK-47s who can kill you in a couple of bursts. What made this game so special is that, along with Thief, it had one of 2 very, very good light-based stealth engines. There were other games at the time that had stealth in them, including No One Lives Forever and System Shock 2. However, this and the Thief series, with the shadows, and particularly Splinter Cell with the use of its dynamic lighting and its effect on gameplay, revolutionized the way stealth was done. That lighting combined with the interactivity in the environments is what made this game so special and unique at the time and added a lot of replayability. Now the problem is, in this day and age, a lot of what made this game awesome and unique is also what's going to drive modern gamers away from it. A lot of modern gamers just aren't used to not being handheld through the entire mission and having the freedom to screw up. So it makes it very difficult for people who haven't played Splinter Cell. It makes it very difficult for me to recommend this game to them, even though it is so fantastic, because odds are they won't be able to see or understand why it was so awesome. But if you're open-minded and you want to give it a try and don't mind getting a little annoyed from time to time because of the frustration level and difficulty, then give it a try. It probably has the best story, or let me rephrase that, second best story of any Tom Clancy game behind Rogue Spear.